So today we're going to talk about dance. And I don't know if very many people would consider dance a therapeutic modality or even maybe woo. But the way that we're going to be talking about it today, I think is going to be slightly woo because, well, let's talk from Jake and find out why would this kind of a dance, this kind of therapeutic modality with dance being involved, why would it be a little out of the mainstream?
Yeah, so traditional dance, they focused on steps and footwork. That is dance to everybody. So you think about going to a dance class and it's like, this is how you move your feet, this is how you move your body, and you're constantly being instructed on what to do and how to do it. What I do is I give like guidelines around dance. So it's like, hey, this is the general idea. These are some rules. This is how people move in this structure. And then it's up to you to kind of play with it. And so it's, instead of focusing on the footwork and on like, this is how to do it, because that instantly gets you in your head and you're like, am I doing it right? And then it's right or wrong constantly. Whereas the world that we create is a world that is a little more woo. It's like, there's no wrong answer. You stumble, make it part of the dance. And did you stumble or are you dancing? You know, like you just constantly are bringing into question this concept of right or wrong, because right or wrong gets us really stuck. Last night we rent out, or we reserve Classic Fun Center, which is a huge skating rink. We have like 200-300 people there on Wednesday nights. Last night we had a group there because we had a graduation tonight there. So anyway, so there was a competition, and all the people that care about the steps and the footwork and think that that's most important, they were on the other side of the rope. And all the people that are just there to have fun and connect and play were on this side of the rope. And last night, halfway through the night, I was like, this is one of the most fun dance nights I've had. And I was like, oh yeah. Because the group on this side is the group that we've created this whole new environment around dancing. Instead of this is how it should look. It's, hey, these are the guidelines. And the most important part is to connect and have fun. And once you get into that, then having fun actually amplifies your learning process. It helps you speed it up because you're having a blast. If you think about learning anything and you start off really hard and painful, it's like, I don't want to go back. But if you start off with like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. It was cool how we connected this way and that way. And I wasn't even messing up and I was brand new. It was the coolest thing. Suddenly you are hardwired to enjoy that thing and you come back more and more and more. So it starts off like there's science behind everything that we do. But the very first steps are like, well, show me a move. Show me, what are the steps? Like people ask me all the time, I'm here to learn a move, Jake. And I'm like, then go find a different teacher. I'll teach you how to connect. I'll teach you how to like real world, like live in this dance thing. But I'm not going to sit there and be like, this is the step. This is the only way to do it. It's like, hey, you're going to do it your own way. I'm just going to help you get there as fast as possible. Oh,
I love this. Man, we went there right out of the gate. And so I do want to back up a little bit, and I got to introduce the two of you because you're amazing humans. This man right here, he's looking around. Who are you looking at? Is actually my son, my baby, my little baby Luke. That's what we all call them, little baby Luke. He's like significantly younger than his brother and sisters, and so so we tease him about that. But he's a grown ass man. You know what I mean? So he so willingly and confidently decided he would opt into this. I have to tell you, that takes some freaking courage. Okay? I really want to say thank you, Luke, for saying yes to something that is uncomfortable. Is it uncomfortable for you to be here right now?
Sure.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about you, Luke.
Well, like she said, she's my mom, so it's interesting growing up with like someone so supportive and like encouraging. So growing up, I've always felt loved and like supported. So I've always had the opportunities to grow and be a better person. So I'm on my own now. I'm 21. So I'm trying to get into film and video, and my big dream is like making films, writing, that's what really gets me going and what I'm interested in. So,
Yeah.
Like growing up with such a supportive family, that was just easy for me to go into something more that I liked and was interested in. Now that I'm up here, it's I feel more independent, and I just am trying to improve every day. So why I took this opportunity is just to grow and challenge myself, because I can get in the cycles of what is the word? Mediocrity or
Mediocrity.
And trying to get out of my comfort zone more.
Yeah.
And I can do that a lot. So
It's awesome. It's been really fun because one of the things I've noticed with you, Luke, by the way, you earned massive brownie points today. I just want you to know, whole new level of, yes, you saying that you grew up in a supportive and loving environment. I am so grateful that you saw it that way. You actually had a much different mother than the older kids. The older kids really got the mom that was disconnected, busy, too busy, trying to people please, trying to do things for others that were really none of my business to do, forcing them to do things so that I would play the part that I thought I had to play. And if they didn't do it in the manner that I thought, then they were doing it wrong. And I was doing it wrong, right? Yeah. And of course, we live in a society where there's certain rules in every family, not just here in Utah, but everywhere. And so Luke had the mom that started to notice that this girl inside was important. And so he got this reflection back to, you're important, because if I feel important, then you feel important. And it doesn't matter what you do, because what you do is exactly what you're meant to do, your uniqueness. And that's the one thing with Luke that I have to just mention. He had a couple of regular jobs growing up, and he thought he was going to die. Like, he literally thought he was going to die. And I remember him saying as a 16-year-old, I'm just not passionate about it. And I thought, that's such an odd thing for a 16-year-old to say. Right. Like, you're not passionate about it? But now that I've watched him evolve, he wants to work on things he's passionate about. And he's really fiercely interested in doing things because it's unique. He wants to be unique. He doesn't want to do anything that anybody else has ever done before. And if you look at his human design, he's a 1-3. So he's got this one profile that says, I want to do things exactly the way that I want. I don't want to do anything or duplicate anybody else. Yeah. And he has just naturally done that. So welcome. Thank you so much. And we're going to come back and find out what areas you want to kind of modify and shift and grow past. And that leads us to Jake Trembath, who has Soul Coast Dance. Jake, I have to tell you, I'm so fascinated by your community. You have brought this community together that just supports and loves each other. I've never seen such an incredibly tight-knit community. And to watch probably hundreds of people who have elevated their life through dance, it's astounding. It's really inspiring, I guess is what I want to say, because you have been able to do this for so many other people. And I'm really fascinated as to how did this all come about in your life? How did this land in your lap? And then you started to bring this incredible Soul Coast Dance to life.
Yeah, it's a great question. So it all started with my own dance journey. I was about like Luke. Same thing. Like, I super resonate with a unique concept. I don't like to live or be or do things. It took me a lot more years to get to the point where I'm like only chasing passion, I want to be part of things. So that's super commendable that you're already there. But I was in that space. I just went through a breakup, and I was just kind of trying to find my home. And I've always created community since I was tiny. And I really struggled in Salt Lake finding or being a part of community. I couldn't find friends. I couldn't find connections. And I tried. I am so good at it. And I'm just like, what is wrong with me? Like, I can't find it here. And then I went dancing. Dancing has always been something I've liked but never really sunk into. So I'd go line dancing when I was in high school. Then I went dancing, and I found just the immediate acceptance for things that were like my body or what they could get from me or whatever. And it was really uncomfortable. I showed up and I immediately felt like people trying to possess me in weird ways, like sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally. Just like, I want like you are going to do, you're going to do things for me. And people would be like, oh, act like my boyfriend for a minute. Or, oh, I want to hook up. Like tons of things were just like, what the heck is going on? And so I didn't feel accepted for me. I felt accepted because of what I looked like or because of what I brought to the table or money or whatever the case is.
Let's just be honest. He's a good-looking guy, isn't he? And so are you. I'm surrounded by a lot of good-looking masculine right now. Yeah. So, yeah. But I get it.
So that was the OG days. And then
I actually don't get it, but I can empathize.
But after being uncomfortable, I was just like, man, I just don't like this. But then I started finding these little pockets of gyms of humans who were just loved me for me. And it was just like, they just accepted what I brought to the table as is. And I was like, this is cool. And what was cool was that I immediately found I was a better dancer with them. So I'm doing partner dancing and I'm like, okay with these people. And I'm feeling criticized or like, that's not how that's supposed to look. You're not doing the right steps. You're not doing the right move. And I'm just like, then why are we dancing? Like, what? And so I just gravitated away from those people. And then I gravitated towards the people that just like every move, they're like, that was cool. And they're just like, they were just like, oh, I like that. It was just like unique to them. And it was like, and they're like, wow, you're so smooth or whatever. And there's these little things that they started encouraging and creating a really safe space for me. And then I realized that what the magic of a safe space does. And then I started gravitating towards those people. And every time I danced with them, I was a better dancer. And I'm like, this is unique. This is weird. And then I went through my own healing journey where I was learning about attachment styles and like all these things about safety and trust and self-love. And as I was going through the journey, I noticed that it started reflecting in my dance. So I learned it and embodied it on the dance floor. And immediately, as I learned a lesson, it would show up. And so as I learned self-love, it was within a week. I went on a self-love journey and had a really challenging time because I've never loved myself. And then as I started to accept myself, I found I had more expression because I was okay with me and who I was. I wasn't trying to muffle myself. I was okay just expressing. And then immediately in that same week, 2 people asked me to teach them how to dance just because they were watching me. They're like, you're just random dudes. And they're like, hey, dude, can you please show me how you're doing what you're doing? And I'm like, sure. I mean, I was brand new at it. This is 5 years ago. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. And then so people started asking me to learn. And then I'm like, so all of a sudden I start having all these people and I start having people show up in my space. And I'm thinking I'm teaching them how to dance, right? And then I go to Journey to Nobody and I do a few other like really transformational retreats. And I realize that you can create a container very specifically for the healing and the impact of humans. And so I've dedicated my space to be impactful. And all the things that I was learning about the safety and creating a safe environment and how important those lessons are, I made them part of the curriculum. So as you're learning how to dance, you're going to hear stuff like there are no accidents. You're 100% responsible for your life's experience. Things like that really impact. And then we're dancing and we're going to help you rewire the thought process instead of like, am I doing this right? To like, am I connecting? Am I in connection with my partner? Am I delivering the right messages? Am I communicating properly? Because that's like, it's not yes or no. It's like, there's a whole spectrum and you could be doing an okay job or you could be doing a fantastic job. All of it's passable and great. And you're in the right place with the right people. And so as I've been creating the community, I've constantly reflected back, is this working? Is this beneficial for them? Is it beneficial for us? And I hold the boundaries very well. So I've kicked people out of the space, for not.
Don't be one of them.
Keeping an eye. But like I've had people that violate the safety of the space and they just use it for like a preying grounds because they're predatorial. And it's pretty quick where I'm just like, I can't have you in the space. Or they show up, they're like, yeah, I'm just here to learn how to dance so I can be more attractive. I'm like, then leave. Like, if you're not here for infinite goal, like, to be like, to mature, grow, heal, become a better person. Like, if you're there for a finite reason to just be able to hook up, just leave. Go find somewhere else to do that. I'm not the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very clear about the rules. I don't encourage dating in the space. Like, people can date in the space. It's not a big deal, but like, that shouldn't be your first goal. If that's your first goal, you're not there for the right reasons. You need to be there for you. And so I help people restructure their goal sets to be infinite. So you have your finite structures, which is like, I want to be good enough so I can do this one thing. That's a finite structure. I want to be good enough so I can learn something. I want to learn how to fish. That'll help me the rest of my life. I want to learn how to fish in relationships. I want to learn how to connect with people on a deeper level. I want to learn how to play. I want to learn how to connect soul to soul. I want to learn how to get in a theta processing state when I'm dancing. All these things are infinite goals, and we can help structure those. And then it's just a matter of where are we at on the spectrum of getting there. And so anyway, with all this in mind, my experience of not feeling safe and then having safety with a few people and then creating an environment that reflected that, suddenly I started finding I was attracting a lot of people that were ready for the next stages of their adventure. A lot of people in the woo spaces that are like, I have done everything I can think of and I'm stuck in the relationship side. And I know that you're the next person on my journey to help me learn these things. And so I'm like, cool. And then I help them just get into relationship, healthy perspective. And all I'm doing is I'm just wiring in healthy patterns. So it's like healthy patterns of relationship look like X, Y, and Z. The masculine, these are the healthy, this is how you show up healthy masculine in a dance. This is how you show up healthy feminine. And you can literally play on both sides. You can learn to be a follow and heal parts of your feminine that you haven't touched before. And so it's just this magical space. And because it's very clear cut, the boundaries and what's allowed in the space and what's not allowed in the space, and because it's constantly enforced of like, hey, like if someone is encroaching on someone's boundaries that have been set and placed and it continues to happen, I have to kick someone out of the space. And so, and that has happened. And there's been times where there's been like wishy-washy and it's like, and we all work through it. And the container is magically set up to help people heal through those things. So anyway, so I use those principles of healthy container, and then it's constant refinement. I had a group originally, and I didn't think that I was really in charge, and I was and I wasn't, and I didn't really set rules or boundaries, and it just kind of got a little loose and wild, and there was a lot of things that happened in the space. People took advantage of people, and it was just like a whole weird thing. And I wasn't all the way in charge. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to be in charge and create my own thing. And since then, that's when all this beautiful Soul Coast stuff has happened.
Yeah.
And now when you come tonight, you'll see and you'll feel the difference of our space versus almost every other space. It is the most loving environment that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I constantly get feedback. I've got people that have come to see us from New York, and like, I've been hearing about you. I've got a girl that's going to be in class tonight from Germany who literally lives in Germany.
Wow.
Germany.
And she's like, she just got here like yesterday, and she's just like obsessed with us. And she's the coolest girl. I've got a student that comes from Alaska. I've got students in Hawaii, and just like all over the country, all over the world. And it just keeps spreading because what we're doing is super impactful. And so it's a movement that we've created, and it's at the very beginning stages, which is really exciting because you can see that it's going to be impactful and powerful.
Yeah.
And it's cool to just be like, I knew them when it was like the very beginning stages.
Yes.
And go ahead.
And you know, one of the things that I know to be true with emotions, energy emotion, right? So I see dance also as a way to move emotion. Like tonight, this been a day with a lot of intensity for me. And I'm planning on being out there and doing the thing. And I'm looking forward to moving some of this energy emotion. It's kind of stuck right here. And I'm like, I'm breathing as we're on this podcast and going, it's okay because I'm about ready to move it. Through movement and play and fun. And isn't that way more fun than sitting there and trying to make it go away if I still my mind, you know what I mean? And that's, I don't want to discount that. Sometimes we do that. But I'm certain that you've watched people go from a very fight and flight state to all of a sudden they're dancing, they're playing, they're having a great time, right?
Well, and one thing you'll notice, Luke, is sometimes it is hard to express vocally. There's like this weird energetic block, maybe in the throat chakra or something. But like the movement of your body's a memory bank of how you perceive the world to be, what your expression already is already in there. And we just get to like invite it out to come and see and play. And then, and it's a mirror. So as you're dancing, you'll notice things. You'll notice that your body tenses up in certain situations. You might have someone that reminds you of an unhealthy person in your life that your energy is going to shrink around, and you get to practice, because it is a safe container and it's designed that way, that they get to hold space for that person in your life. And as you go through that triggering response, you get to pull yourself out of it, knowing that it's a safe place so that you can come through the other side. And the next time that person shows up in your life, it's like, oh, I got this. I've practiced this. I now know what to do when I'm in this situation. And you're going to find time and time again that your body has all this cool expression inside, and you just get to continually practice learning and using your body to express. And so when I was a kid, this is a little bit about my background. When I was a kid, I had periods of my time where adults were like, is he mute? Like wondering if I talked, because I just had no expression out, like my voice. But my body was always how I've always communicated. So it's like, I didn't have the blessing of having my mom is amazing, but she wasn't in my life growing up. And so I felt like as a kid that I had to earn my value. And so I would go play sports, and if I won, I felt valuable. I would beat the kids that, it was just like, that's how I feel like I gained my worth. So my body was my tool for validation. And so I've learned how to use it in such a way. And now I use it for betterment of man instead of validating myself. But it's really cool, because I'm guessing that there's some level of that for you, where your body has been a little bit of a tool for you, and you get to kind of tune it in and like help it be this really cool delivery mechanism for being in a healthy masculine space and holding the feminine or the masculine, whatever, like however you choose to go on this adventure. But you're going to gain a lot more confidence around your body and around what your body can do and all the cool things that are available. And you're going to find that expression can happen with your body instead of having to come up with words. And sometimes there's like that stumbling block. I used to have it all the time. I'd be reading in class and my brain would go blank, and I would just be like, don't look at me anymore. Like try to hide, just like one of those things. And now I don't have as much of an issue, but dance really has unlocked a lot of confidence in my life. And it's been one of the coolest things that I've ever been a part of. So awesome. I'm excited to see all the transformation that gets to happen.
So, Luke, how confident do you feel in dancing?
Not at all. To be honest, it's like, this is like hard for me just because dance, at least right now, is like one of my least favorite things. Cool. I just don't like how my body moves and like I'm just not confident in that area.
That's a great place to start.
Just so that you have a little bit of like an experience tonight when we're doing this experience, and I'm having my own experience and you're having your own experience. I love to dance. Luke knows I love to dance. This kind of dance freaks me out because I can dance all by myself. Woohoo! Yeah, I'm here. I'm all by my lonesome. I got this. I can feel the beat. You put me with a partner. I don't know. Am I doing it right? I'm not sure. Like I am feeling a lot of insecurity in myself. And so if you're feeling insecure tonight, you are in good company. So, again, I want to point out the fact that you're so brave. Yeah. You're so brave to do this. You're so brave to do it on camera. You're so brave. And I'm going to tell you right now, Luke is not one to people please his mother. Yeah. If he does not want to do something, he says no, which I love about him. So he said yes. And I want to know why you said yes. Why did you say yes?
I think I just said yes because I think I think just over even the past 2 years, just finding myself and being more comfortable with myself, I'm more willing to challenge myself and more willing to improve, and just all the experiences growing up that I've gotten from you or from myself. I've just had a lot of good mentors and people like that helped me, I guess, get get more, what's the word? Like, I've improved my life more dramatically than most people just because of the people around me. So
I love that.
yeah.
But you're here for a reason. You said yes for a reason. And I know that there's some areas of improvement that you would like. Every human on this earth wants to expand in some area. And a lot of times doing the thing that feels the most uncomfortable is the very way to get it, right? And so you are approaching something very uncomfortable, something that isn't a natural thing for you. Although I have seen you dance when you're not worrying about it, and you actually do dance very well. So it'll be interesting tonight. But you want something out of this. Like, talk to us about, where are you going? What do you want? What do you want to expand and feel more? Maybe it's confidence. I don't know. I'm going to let you use the words.
Yeah. I think why I'm doing it is just because I've always had, like, even now that I like myself more, I've never had confidence, really. Like, very little confidence. Even if I'm skilled at something, I try to tame that down and belittle myself about it. So I've just never had like a lot of confidence. I guess the most confident I would be is like if I'm good at something, I'm a little confident, and I'm a competitive person, so like, I keep wanting to improve and be better than someone or even myself. So definitely confidence. And I just think being more comfortable with my body in a way. Like, I've never been too comfortable with my body. I'm even in like the past 2 months, have I been trying to improve my health and stuff like that. It just never took priority growing up. So,
yeah. We can cut out if you decide you don't want to go here. How about we talk about girls? Because it's been a thing. And there's some confidence that I know that you desire and you've shared with me. Let's talk about girls.
Yeah, I think girls is definitely one that I want to improve on. And I think dance, at least in this context, could help, especially with confidence. I've always struggled with girls growing up, but I guess, like, I've always tried. I've always tried to date. I've always tried to just improve. And I always think I'm very, very good in relationships on my side. I think it's the people I choose, and I think it's got to do with something about me and like my self-confidence and what I think about myself, that I attract people that might want to use me or take advantage of me just because I'm a really nice person, and I will do anything for my significant other or like someone close to me. So just, I think finding the confidence and finding someone that's not gonna take advantage of me or use me or whatever.
And I'm just going to point one more thing before we turn it over to Jake, and he can kind of maybe talk a little bit about dance and how this can help in community. Sure. Is one of the things that you mentioned to me, it wasn't that long ago. You're like, I've been rejected so many times, you'd think I'd be good at it. And it still hurts. And because you had a situation not that long ago where you felt rejected. And so I think that maybe, Jake, as you're talking and you're looking and you're moving and you're teaching, that, I mean, how many of us have felt rejected? How many of us, every single time we go to do something, it may not be relationships, but maybe it's health. Maybe it's a business. Maybe it's, I've tried to do this entrepreneurial thing over and over and over, and it's not working. I keep getting rejected. Why does this person do it, but I do it the same thing and it doesn't work, right? Like, so I think we can apply this to so many different areas of why does one person magnetize this experience and why does one person repel it, right? And so let's talk about dance. Let's talk about community and maybe your experience with this.
Sure. Yeah, so it's this is my favorite. So I did a few like dance interviews today with some of my students that I've been working with for anywhere from 2 months to 2 years. And the repeated pattern has been through the community opportunity, I've rewired this thing. So whatever it is, you have a safe place to practice something new. And so you're practicing the confidence and you're practicing and you're getting to experience what it's like to have reciprocated energy versus someone who's like, oh, I can see you're vulnerable here and you're attracting predators. You know, like if you're wounded, you're going to attract a predator. Whereas if you're confidently practicing something new and it's a safe place and you're attracting other people that are vibing on the same frequency as you, that are working towards something instead of this is how I am and this is what I'm interested in. So anyway, the community aspect is really interesting because we have mirror neurons that fire. And I was explaining this a little earlier, but if you have two monkeys and one's eating banana, both brains will fire in the same places of deliciousness. Like both monkeys will have the same experience, even though only one of them is eating the banana, because the other one has mirror neurons that fire. They're like, I bet it tastes like this. And it just like you're matching. And that's what happens as humans. We have these experiences where your mirror neurons fire. And when you come to class and you find yourself accepted by person after person after person after person after person, your brain is going to start to be like, maybe I'm a delicious banana, right? Like it's like this whole different concept of like, maybe I have worth here.
Delicious banana. I don't think this is a conversation I'm supposed to be in.
We can use a different fruit. We'll see. But as you find acceptance in safe community, it'll allow you to be like, dang, like I have worth intrinsically, yes. But it's really helpful to do it in community. So when you put yourself out there like you're doing tonight, and you are brave and commendable for that, when you actually do that and take that step and everyone's on the same page. Like you can have been doing work on yourself for hundreds of years and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but now I got to do it in front of someone. And it's a whole different animal because you have the balance of the masculine and feminine. You're being seen and it's not like you can hide and it's not like you can go secretly and meditate for 10 hours and come back and be like, I'm a different person. It's like, I'm changing right in front of somebody. And that's just intrinsically challenging. But what's cool is because of the safe environment, I've seen a very rapid uptick in people's growth and development. And the people that utilize it as a tool, I've never seen anyone grow faster. One of the people you'll meet, her name's Katie. She was a polygamist 2 years ago, year and a half ago. She was a polygamist, left and kind of started her own journey. And one of the first places she came was to me and just cannonballed into me. And I'm like, all right, let's see what we got. And within a few months, she was teaching with me because she was so eager and interested, just like you are, to shift and change. And that's really the recipe. When you have the desire and you insert the recipe for fun and play, the things just happen. And it's just really natural.
It is.
The mirror neurons start to fire and you're going to find yourself accepted in community. And you're going to find that the things that you do are like actually really cool. And you're very unique. What you bring to the table is going to be different than anybody else. And by the end of today, I promise, you will be one of the best on the top 50% of dancers in the state of Utah. No question.
What?
And I know it's a crazy already.
No high
Your mom's
five.
wanting a high five.
I'm doing a high five and he's not even meeting me there.
I didn't even see it.
That felt awkward. All right.
He doesn't believe it. That's why he was just
Okay.
But the thing is that I've asked, the reason why I know this for a fact is because I've asked hundreds of people what their favorite things in every partnership and that they dance with. And we've narrowed it down to what we teach. So we teach on the first day what it takes to be a great partner. And you're already going to pass up 50% of people because 50% of people never take that first step of learning from a place where you're actually learning the most important pieces. Most people, instead of learning the important pieces, they're going to a dance class where it's like, this is how it's supposed to be done. So then they recreate that environment. And then when they first dance with a girl, they're like, no, you're not doing it right. And so I'll have people that have been dancing 15 years and these brand new guys, because that's how they think you receive validation in this space. They're like, no, you're not doing it right. This is how you're supposed to do this. Have you ever done this move? Have you ever done this move? This is how you do it. So they think that it's about the moves and doing it right. And so these people that have been dancing forever are like, it literally scrunches them into a box and they're not enjoying dancing with that person. But that's about half of the general dance public. The path that we've created, day one, you're better than 50% of the people out there because your tension is solid, your frame is solid, your understanding of connection is solid. You're not sitting there trying to force your partner on because you think the most important thing is the move. Instead, you know that the most important thing is connection. And that difference will put you in the top 50% of the dance. And that perspective will put you in the top 50% of boyfriends, top 50%. Like you're immediately starting in this cool space of, oh, the game isn't what I thought it was. It's not about having money. It's not about doing cool moves. It's not about, whatever you thought was before. And it's going to put you in a space of people inherently love connection. They love soul to soul. And in the world that we're in today, everyone's on their phones. No one gets off of their phone. So the second that people set their phone and they're dancing with you, you have 100% of their attention. And just being present with them and gentle with them and like understanding their energy and dancing with their energy instead of telling their energy what to do, you're curious about their energy, curious about their capability. And that curiosity and that interest in the person and the human that is in front of you immediately starts firing differently in their brain than someone who's showing up as like, you're doing it wrong. That will work for a minute, as almost every person that comes into our community, their former reality was a lot of masculine energy dictating how they live their life. So you go to work and it's like, you do it this way, you do it this way, you do it this way. This is the step, this is the move, this is how you work for me. And then you come to this space and it's like, I'm just curious about you as a human. What is it that you bring to the table that we can play with that's going to be unique to us and no one else?
Yeah.
And suddenly you're having these beautiful dances with people that have only danced for one day. And they're having the best time and you're having the best time. And it doesn't have to go home. You don't have to go home with this person. It's just a place to play and practice relationship. You have a 3-minute relationship that you get to practice something new. And you're like, I'm going to try to smile a little more. I'm going to try to really engage eye contact. I'm going to try getting playful. I'm going to try to like get in there and kind of pull my energy and push my energy and just kind of like in and out of the dance. And you're just going to see, and you've got 20 dances a night, 30 dances a night where you get to practice relationship and you get to start wiring in like, I like this. I love that when I bring this to the table, my partners always smile. They love it whenever I show up all of me. They love it when I do a lead spin. So when I push away and I do a spin and a little flare, it brings a smile to the face. Or I've got this really goofy move that I pull out of my pocket. I bust out the Q-tip and it makes people smile every time, right? So like you're going to find all these cool little tricks of the trade that will be yours and uniquely yours. And then you're going to start to have confidence in what you bring to the table. When you first start, of course, it's going to be like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I accepted, right? And all that will happen, just part of the process. But within a couple lessons, we'll start to navigate the inner critic dialogue that you have going on in your head, because you talked about how you'll even be good at something and you're still deprecating yourself. At some point in your past, you learned that being hard on yourself is how you grow, because you have to constantly be pushing yourself. And somehow that got wired into a negative, like you're not good enough. The truth is that you're always good enough and that there's still rooms and areas to improve. And so what we do is we help wire more healthy structure in. The unhealthy structure is beating yourself up, and that it's not productive. People can be successful with that going on in their head, but they also hate themselves. So is it really success if you hate yourself? I don't think so.
Yeah. You've brought up so many good points. The first one being just play in the sandbox, right? Let's just be curious instead of being so hung up on doing something right or wrong. Right. And Luke, you should be pretty good at this, because I'm going to tell you, this kiddo here, for the first decade of his life, was just in play, in curiosity. He lost every single butter knife that we ever owned, and because he was playing swords with it everywhere he went. And so play is just natural for you. So maybe it's just reminding yourself how to do it again, right? Not getting so serious and hung up on doing it right. And that will play into your work. And I can only imagine with film and screenwriting that if you're doing it for the sheer joy of creating, that it's going to be a much different project than something that you're dissecting. Oh, I didn't do it right enough. It will never even go out into the public because you'll be so in your head, right?
Yeah.
And I know for sure that your internal world dictates your external world. I know that to be true. And so what you're saying to me is let's start changing that internal world. Let's start going back to curiosity, some play, some uniqueness, which you love. That is a word that just resonates with you. Unique, individual. Even as you were talking about, a significant other, you love that individuality. You love that creativity. You love that eccentric type of person. You can step into that and start playing with that. And instead of you going in there, and you're right, I'm going to be nervous. You're going to be nervous because it's something new.
Yeah.
And our brains are wired not to do anything that's not predictable. Well, we're shaking things up. We're not being predictable tonight.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any comments about that, Luke, before we have Jake take us through what to expect for you tonight and maybe the next few days?
I don't think so right now.
Side note, Luke, you've got very similar energy to one of my best friends' name is Jay. And Dance has unlocked the coolest dude, like one of the coolest dudes I know. So, but you guys feel very similar to me. And it's just, it's been really cool to watch his journey. It's been 5-6 years where he's been now dancing, and he's been one of my best friends this whole time. And he texted me 2 nights ago. And he's just like, hey, Jake, I just wanted to say thank you for I was with some other people and I just didn't feel accepted or loved or seen or valued or understood. And it just was such a stark contrast to how I feel in your community, how I always feel just like trusted, loved, safe, secure. Anyway, funny story about Jay. When I first asked people who their favorite dance partner is and why, almost everyone said Jay. Because he created such a unique experience. People describe dancing with Jay like we're just in the living room having the best time. And like, there's not a lot of rules. We're not sitting there like he's not technical. He's not judgy. He literally is just so accepting of me. And almost every person that I've asked who their favorite partner is during that time frame, it was Jay. And you guys are like very similar. You'll probably meet him tonight. Super cool guy. Anyway, so it's exciting for your future because he's literally everyone's like favorite dude. He's just a stud. But and you guys are almost identical in your signature, your energy signature. So okay. So, side note, what to expect tonight. So tonight we'll have a beginner class and we'll have an intermediate class, and then we'll do a social. The beginner class, we go over 11 basic rules. So we don't like to get hung up on the rules, but it's a sandbox that has rules. And so if we're looking at a spectrum, there's the spectrum on the very far end is just like do whatever you want. And that's totally fine if that's where you want to play. But what we find is that with more rules and a little bit more structure, the level of game gets more exciting. And so you've played different board games, I'm assuming, and you know that sometimes there's some crazy rules involved, but it always ends up like it creates a really cool environment. And so that's all we're doing is we're just creating rules around a sandbox. So the rules around the sandbox allows you to just kind of like know a general idea of like how things work. But what's interesting is the rules for you are different than the rules for the follow. The rules for the follow, her job is to keep and seek connection. That's her first rule. Her second rule is to understand how her frame works. Her third rule is then to flow within the framework. Your first rule is to intentionally connect with your partner. So you're the one being the masculine. You're asking for the partner. You're asking for the dance. You're asking for her to move. You're asking for her to connect with you. So you're asking and she's accepting. So you're immediately rewiring that rejection thing that we've all experienced. So you're asking, getting accepted, and then going through the dance. Every movement is an invitation for something else. And so you're going to invite a direction, and then you're going to invite a movement. And each one of those are accepted and played with, right? And so that's what dance is all about. It's rewiring to realize that you can lead and you can do things, and it's going to create a really cool, fun thing. And whatever you're leading is totally great and fine, and it will be played with. So the first thing that you're doing is you're intentionally connecting. The second thing you're doing is you're understanding how she works. So because she is the clay, part of the clay in this equation, so you have the masculine and the feminine, you are the lead, she's the follow, but you're leading the structure of the dance, she's leading the the flow of the dance. She's leading like all the fun, like rhythmic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she's leading that part, you're leading this part. And so you're just learning how she works, how her body moves, like where her frame exists. Because then you know that if you push it in a certain place, it's going to create a spin. Or if you pull in a certain space, it's going to create movement. And your job today is to kind of like start to figure out how the structures play together. Mm-hmm. Once you have the structures down, then it's all about framing around her structure. And it's not about restricting her movement, but it's about allowing as much movement as possible. You think you become the banks of the river. The really restrictive dance styles, they become a culvert, or like they pinch and can't really flow, and so it just like creates a lot of pressure, and it's not the most fun. And eventually the pressure will wear down the entire system. Whereas a river, you are the banks of the river, so you're guiding and leading this flow, and then you're joining in the flow. You're spinning with the flow, you're moving with the flow, you're getting into that energy. So you guys are in co-creation day one. Mm-hmm. So the first lesson that you'll go through, we're just going to learn the basics of movement. So we're going to go through, there's 11 basic moves. Once you have those down and get enough practice in, then that's everything. That's what dance is made up of. Now there's a next level to this, of course. There's all these different ways to use those movements. You'll learn the first 11. Well, you'll probably get around all 11 today, but our bodies can only handle so much information at one time, and today's going to be a little bit, I wouldn't say quite a fire hose, but definitely a garden hose on full blast. And so you can drink, but it's not all going to work. So, but when we work tomorrow and the next day, we'll start to navigate a few more technical aspects. The biggest thing for me is helping you with your self-love, self-grace practice. As everything is a practice, we're just going to practice giving ourselves some self-love. We're going to start wrestling that concept of the inner critic, realizing that it's not actually you. We'll talk about that in our private lessons. And that's going to allow you, it's going to uptick your ability to learn. So when I was attempting to learn for most of my life, I found myself tripping a lot. I was always like, because I hated myself. I hated who I was. I loved myself and I hated myself. It was just weird. Like sometimes I was in love with myself, sometimes I hated myself, but all the time I was hard on myself. And it just stifles your growth. So if you think about a little flower growing in your garden, if you immediately like, that's not good enough, you cut it, it's never going to grow, right? Mm-hmm. And so what self-love allows is like, let's see what that flower becomes, and that one, and that one. And you're just accepting of whatever is coming. And then you actually get to discover who you are, because each of those flowers is representative of a different version of you. And so what we're going to do is when we do the private one-on-one, we're going to talk about self-love. We're going to talk about the inner critic. We're going to go through 5 tenets of a philosophy that allows us to keep moving, because a lot of people get stuck with like a victim mentality, or they'll get stuck in the middle of the tunnel. Instead of processing it, they'll just get stuck in the middle of it, or they'll blame other people for their issues, whatever the case is. So we create those tenets, we set goals, and then we start navigating the inner critic dialogue, the outer critic dialogue. There's a lot of books and stuff. This is an entire journey. This could last a year. This could last 10 years. This could last the rest of your life. You can eat it as quickly as you want to. You can just, digest it here and there. But there's so much available to just learn. And it's not just dancing. Dance and life are synonymous. They're the same thing. You're just dancing with a different entity, right? Like you're dancing with the universe instead of you and a partner. So we'll kind of start navigating and realizing that everything connects. And then once we get there, we use dance as the medium to help us learn the lessons. So it's like, oh, your partner is showing up this way. What do you do typically when your partner shows up this way? Whether it's your boss or a coworker or a girl or a date, whatever the case is. So we'll start using and tethering everything to the dance reality. And then as you're learning dance, it will the rising boat or the rising tide of that will raise all the ships in your life. And so you'll find that in work, you have these situations where like you weren't quite confident, and then all of a sudden, with enough practice of confidence and self-love and getting rid of that inner critic and creating healthy thought processes and learning how to nurture all those things, as all those things become yours, the rising tide of that will raise all the ships in your life. And I've seen it time and time and time again. Business improves, relationships improve, and then you have community, you have somewhere to ground in, you have people that see the world the same way as you, and so that you're every Wednesday or whenever you're coming to class, which our classes are Wednesdays, you'll be reminded of the most important things and these people that are amazing. Little social bubbles will pop out, and you'll be invited to barbecues, and there's all sorts of things that just go on, boating and whatever. And so you're going to find that all of it pairs together to allow you to do exactly what you're talking about, which is transform your life into a place that and it's not like you don't want to be where you're at. You're happy here, but it's like there's always more.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to allow you to tap into that next level. Tonight is going to be structure, and then it's going to be a lot of you in your head and like, oh, am I doing it right? But eventually it gets to the point where you realize that everyone just is super happy you're there. Like the community is like, everyone's going to be in love with you. Like it's just the thing. It's just, you're a super cool guy. You're going to bring so much to the table. And as you show up, the uniqueness that is you, it's going to be like, oh, there he is. Hell yeah. I love that guy. Let's play more with that. And so it's just going to keep happening. And you're going to find more and more people that just love you as you are and as you show up. And you'll show up today and you'll show up tomorrow differently. And then in whatever version you show up in, you're going to find people that just totally accept exactly you as you are. And that's going to allow you to start rewiring and help you find your own worth in a way that is substantial. And as everyone says in the community, it's life-changing, absolutely life-changing.
What are your thoughts on this?
It's a lot of information, but I think that's awesome. I think I've grown up with like self-improvement just from family members or just naturally just getting into the space a little bit, and a lot of it just seems samey to me.
Yeah.
It feels a lot of like taking advantage of people with like money and
there's a dark side to this and to personal development.
Yeah. But from what I was getting from you, it's like very community driven and very like it doesn't feel like you're taking advantage because everyone's on the same page of what they're trying to improve on and stuff like that.
Awesome. You excited?
Yeah, I think so.
You think this might be able to help you gain that confidence, maybe learn how to connect a little bit different, maybe even deeper, more meaningful to another person, specifically a girl.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think I just self-isolate a lot. So I think even if it's not a girl, it's just like being a better with interactions and being better with communicating and stuff like that.
Relationships
Beautiful.
in general.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I say we go to the experience because that's where it happens, right?
Yeah.
I love talking. In my book, 20% we learn what's true and possible. 80% is going to be out on that dance floor.
We do, yeah.
Right? All right. We ready to go?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's do it.
Stoked.